What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is Orioles Today, where I'm covering all things the Baltimore Orioles. As always, I am Sean Ferguson. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the channel and to this latest episode. Please subscribe to the channel if you are a fan of the Baltimore Orioles. I'm doing my best to cover everything happening with the Orioles, all the moves they're making, things that could happen, should happen, we wish we would happen. So please subscribe, get your daily notifications again, as I am dropping these videos every single day. Thank you so much for the love and support to this channel. It is getting its feet off the ground pretty fast, and I really appreciate it. It is all because of you guys. So please continue to tune in, and please continue to leave your comments. I love interacting with you guys. You guys got a lot of good feedback for me, and I really do appreciate that. And with that, let's go ahead and get into today's topics. Starting off with staff changes for the Orioles. As we all know, Craig Albernaz, the brand new manager in Baltimore, taking over for Brandon Hyde, who was fired this past season. Tony Mansolino, he was your interim manager. He is now gone. Tony Mansolino has officially joined the Atlanta Braves organization as their third base coach. Mansolino was your interim manager, did pretty good. There was a chance that he would come back in that managerial role, but that ultimately was given to Craig Albernaz, and he is gone now. So Albernaz needs to fill all of these positions. A lot of guys have left, which we knew was going to happen, so it's not that big of a deal, and he finally has one. We have a brand new hitting coach in Dustin Lin. He was the former assistant hitting coach with the Philadelphia Phillies last year, and he is now the new lead hitting coach with Baltimore, as Cody Ash left to join the Detroit Tigers organization, which is okay. I've seen many Orioles fans, especially on this channel, saying that's okay because of how bad our offense was last year. Again, ultimately, the team finished 12 games below 500, way under expectations. So a lot of changes, including players leaving, coaches leaving, and Ash was one of them. But you have a brand new manager, Craig Albernaz, excited for that hire, and now Dustin Lin, the brand new lead hitting coach for the Orioles organization. He's only 37 years old. I'm going to be interested to see if the O's do go the route of getting some veteran coaches in there to surround themselves with Albernaz. Only time will tell. But Albernaz now has a new lead hitting coach in Dustin Lin. And we'll see if he can get these bats working, because they did not work great last year for us. Only, I believe, the leading home run hitter had 17. Not good if you want to compete in this league. And I know it's one thing I've continued to talk about, and that is arms for this organization and a lack of them. I know we need bats. Trust me, I know. We'll get into that in a minute. But we need arms as well. And I touched on Edwin Diaz possibly coming over to the Orioles on a deal, but we know that Rubenstein has the money to spend, and he's not proven to want to spend it, which makes no sense. It is what it is. Edwin Diaz most likely not going to happen. If it does, he's going to be a very expensive option. There's other guys there as well, but another guy that just recently had his team option declined, and that was for $11 million going into next year. That is Pete Fairbanks with the Tampa Bay Rays. The Orioles are familiar with him because he was on an AL East team, so we saw him a bunch. Fairbanks was the primary closer for the Rays the last 4 seasons, 83 saves with a 2.83 ERA over his time there in Tampa. So he's a guy that you can bring in that's proven, and he's affordable. And those are things the Orioles could really go for right now. The affordable thing, most guys should be affordable with how much money the owner says he has and that he does have. And with him saying there's no restrictions or cap right now on who they want to sign, they just want to bring in the best players. Fairbanks is a good one to bring in. Bautista most likely not going to be there as your closing pitcher to start the year. He might not be there at all. If you see him, he might be there at the end of the year. So if you're not going to go the expensive route, these big names, go get yourself Pete Fairbanks. He's not terrible at all. He's a really reliable closer, and he's a guy that you've seen a lot. And the way the O's have been going, that I believe it was yesterday's video that I said this, they're bringing back guys that they're familiar with, familiar faces. Fairbanks has never been an Oriole, but we have seen him a lot. And the AL East does this a lot. We'll transition player to player. We saw the Orioles get the Red Sox. O'Neill, Santander left to go join the Blue Jays. It happens. Guys bounce back in between the division. But I wouldn't be mad at Fairbanks coming over to be a closing pitcher for the Orioles this year. You can get him on a short-term, cheaper deal. Tell me what you guys think about Fairbanks. I know there's better options out there, but for him being proven and the price we would have to pay for him, I wouldn't be mad at bringing him over. And the bats, I know the bats is something we touched on. And I've seen a few people talk about this, and I've seen this swirling around and the rumor mills as well. Very, very slim that this happens. The Orioles have the money to make this happen. But you need a proven bat and you need a big bat. You need a home run bat. Kyle Schwarber has those things. Schwarber, of course, has been an absolute force with the Phillies over the last couple of years. He just bombed 56 home runs and 132 RBIs last year. But the Orioles were snake bitten by that Chris Davis contract. I know Schwarber, way better player than Davis was, and way longer of a period than Davis was. But that haunts so many Orioles fans. I'm sure it still haunts management and ownership. And that contract's lingering well into the 2030s, so you're still paying that Chris Davis contract for a long time. So would you want to bring in would you even consider bringing in a Kyle Schwarber? He's 33 years old. He only bats. And I don't know, he's going to decline at some point. Now, do you want to spend all this money to go get him and that decline happens next year? It could. If you look at it realistically, you could offer him possibly a 3-year deal around the $65 to $70 million range just with his age. So you're looking, I believe, ballpark around 26, 27 million probably annual that you will have to go and get him, which the O's could do. They just gave O'Neill that stupid $3 or $50 million contract, and he was not proven worthy of that contract. He didn't earn it. But you could go after a guy like Schwarber, get that, put a middle lineup for a lineup that desperately needs that. The O's didn't have that last year. I said earlier, the most home runs they had by a player last year was 17. You can't have that this day and age in the MLB. You need a guy who can hit the long ball. Henderson might have a bounce back year. He's going to get you in the 30 range. That'd be great if he could start the year and finish the year healthy. We'll see. You have guys there that could do it. They just haven't yet, besides Henderson. But again, had a big drop-off year last year. Injuries had a part to play in that. I mean, would they even want to go think about getting a guy like that? It wouldn't hurt having veteran talent and a proven bat. You're just going to have to pay for it. And I would try to go on a shorter term. He's a East Coast guy. He's been with Philadelphia for a while, so Baltimore is not a massive change of scenery when it comes to moving. But you just got to put in perspective of, do you still have that fear of that the lingering of that Chris Davis contract? Would Schwarber come over, make this money, and then immediately start to decline? I mean, the chances that the O's even try to go after him are slim, but there is a chance. And it would be exciting, at least, to see Schwarber come over, because we know what he can do and what he has done, what he even did last year. You just got to know that it's pretty much going to be home run or bust with the guy. He's only going to bat, and he's starting to get up there in age. And you're going to have to pay, even with all those things, you're going to have to pay a lot for him. So could they possibly work some magic and get him on a shorter term deal where they wouldn't have to break the bank as bad? Possibly. Only time will tell. Will it happen? Probably not. There's other guys that could help them in other areas, but when it comes to the long ball bat, Schwarber is going to be one of the better ones. He does have a qualifying offer from Philly, but it's being said that there's almost a 0% chance that he is going to accept it. And as I've been talking about, the Orioles have been doing a good job of getting guys they're familiar with. They're trying to get comfortable. They're trying to fill spots so they know they have guys they can rely on. Not the best players in the world by any means. Again, when you traded Andrew Kittredge at the trade deadline, then you trade for him back, which just made me laugh. So I wouldn't be surprised, as I said in other videos, the possibility of a Ryan O'Hearn coming back or an Austin Hayes. And another guy is Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins is a guy we traded away last year. Clubhouse favorite, fan favorite. People love Mullins. He is now a free agent. He signed a 1-year deal. I believe it was a little bit over $8 million with the Orioles last offseason. Then we, of course, traded him away. He only batted, I believe, .217. He fits in with the Orioles. 17 home runs is all he hit last year. So he's averaging what the O's were, other O's players were kind of sitting at. But if you bring in a guy like Mullins, again, everyone's familiar with him. Everyone loves him. And he's not at a point in his career, I believe, where you pay him, say, hey, you're going to be our everyday starter in center field. You could use him there as that veteran to help these young guys that are continuing to come up, that are slowly but surely starting to transition out of your farm system up into the big leagues, guys you drafted in 23 or last year. And Mullins could be that bridge gap for him. He can start, and he's great defensively as well. His bat has definitely regressed, but his defense is still there. He's still one of the fastest guys on the field. So you could definitely see about bringing him back. And he's going to be cheap. He's going to be very, very cheap. And he's the guy you're familiar with. And I know I keep getting confused with John Means. I always will consider John Means a Baltimore Oriole. And Means left last year, injury riddled. Love the guy when he was healthy. He was so good when he was healthy. but he continues to get hurt. He left last year, signed with the Cleveland Guardians, never played at all for Cleveland, and the Guardians just declined his team option. He will now become a free agent, and this is definitely a move I could see the Orioles making, but I will most likely see them picking him up and definitely putting him in the minors for a while because, again, he's just continued to be injury riddled and he has a long way back. Will he ever get back to the form he used to be? Probably not. But it's the Orioles we're talking about, so I could definitely see them saying, you know what, let's bring him back. So if that happens over the next couple of days, just remember I said it first. If it doesn't, just pretend like this never happened. So those are definitely, there's others out there, but for the most part, those two guys are two guys I can definitely see the Orioles reuniting with the route they're going of bringing guys back on short-term / cheap deals right now. But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this latest episode of Orioles Today, where I'm dropping brand new videos every single day on all things the Baltimore Orioles. I really, really appreciate all the love and support this channel has seen so far. It really means a lot. Please continue to view these videos, subscribe, get your daily notifications for every single video drop. Again, guys, this was Orioles Today. I am Sean Ferguson, and I will see you guys next time.